Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Knott's Farmcast. We're going to be looking today at the CPCF and a bit of an overview of the changes and some of the things that we here at the LPC think that contractors should be aware of. I have our fabulous Chief Officer, Nick Hunter, and our fabulous Services Implementation Officer, Mike Jones, with us. They are both pharmacists. I don't just have one pharmacist today, I've got two, which is fabulous. I'm going to start by asking probably the question that some of you maybe who are listening thinking, well, why are you doing this podcast? Because there is so much stuff out there about the CPCF. And I think we've been highlighting a lot of these things already on our socials. So I'm going to put that question to both gentlemen today. So go straight in, people. Why are we doing this?
Well, thanks, Kirsten. I'll go first. Well, to be honest, over the past few weeks, as Nick and I have been having conversations and we've been seeing all the information that's been coming out, we've just been very, very conscious, not only of the workload in our pharmacies in Nottinghamshire, but also of the number of words that have already been publicised for all the things we want to make reference to, like the vaccination programmes, particularly Men B. We want to talk about the changes to CPCF and PQS, but not in any detail. What we really want to do is help our contractors with a few top tips and survival tips, really.
Yes.
And I think the second thing for me is that we're very mindful as well. So many pharmacies have changed hands this year. So there's been some amalgamations, but there's been some new owners, and the new owners might be going through this for the very first time. And so, although getting it right this year will help them for next year, what we really want to make sure of is that they know where to go for the information, they know who to talk to, so there's clarity around that, and they don't think they're alone as they go through this process.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Mike. And Nick, I think, could you sort of talk us through the CPCF and some of the things I know you would like contractors to be aware of?
I think as I said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of small changes in the CPCF changes and a few big changes. A lot of opportunity out there if you get things lined up and right. Very easy to miss a declaration date deadline, and all the work that you've put in. PQS is a classic example. You put all the work in up front and you miss the claim deadline in the early part of next calendar year, and you've done all that work and you're not going to get remunerated for it. And what we're trying to do is just give a bit of top line, go through things so that you don't miss those key dates and those key opportunities. Whilst things have a claim deadline way in the future, there's work that you need to start doing now. So in terms of the CPCF changes, the contractual framework changes, the headline was massive increase in funding, over 10% increase in funding, which is fantastic. There's a bit of a story behind that, as there always is. In terms of some of that is in margin, some of that is in fees, some of that is in moving money from other budgets, other NHS budgets into CPAP, into pharmacy contract framework. The advantage of moving the pharmacy first funding, for instance, it was in the primary care recovery monies into our community pharmacy contractual framework, is it ring fences it for community pharmacy. So in past years, underspends on pharmacy first has gone back into the NHS black hole, and we've lost that money as a sector. Whereas if there's an underspend in future in any pharmacy services, it means that money becomes available across the whole of pharmacy services provision and single activity. The reality is, out of 10% increase, it's about 4% increase in SAF, single activity fee. And we'll come on to later some of the detail around that and the contract funding. There are other key changes within the contract around regulations, caps, services, and these have come in because there's been disproportionate use of services in the past. Caps on selected services to prevent disproportionate use. And that's come in because some pharmacies have been doing hundreds and hundreds of units of activity, or thousands even. That then skews their funding distribution. So caps have come in order to make it fairer and balance the distribution of funding. There's action around branded generics. There's going to be a complete review of the FAS scheme, the Pharmacy Access Scheme. So if your pharmacy is benefiting from the additional funding of FAS, you need to be particularly mindful of that review and what the outcomes of that are. The likelihood is that FAS will go. It may be phased. The detail around that is yet to be negotiated and worked out, but the indication is that FAS will be removed as a separate additional fee at the moment.
Okay.
There's work around dealing with aggression and violence from members of the public in our pharmacies, and one of the big changes is around their ability to close for up to 4 hours a month, specifically for training and development opportunities. But bottom line is there's more money. It's still not enough money, but more money. And the really big benefit of the deal or the agreement is that there will be proper review of contractual framework. And any of you that have been along to the CPE regional roadshows will be aware that they've been listening and they're currently polling for opinions and comments around what might be in that review.
Yeah, I think we shared that recently, Nick. Yeah. Great, that's brilliant. Any quick word around the IP service? Because I think that's going to be included now, isn't it, moving forward?
So,
anything specific to say about that?
That is, it's very political because it was in the Labour manifesto that IP would come in. It's taken far longer than we would have liked. There's a lot of opinions around the funding that's coming with that. But I think the key point to note with it is the direction of travel, and it is a commitment to support a prescribing-based service in community pharmacy going forward. This is what we wanted. We've been shouting about for years now, and finally coming. There's still a lot of detail to work out on there. There's been various suggestions around additional pathways for pharmacy first. None of that is conversations on that and negotiations have not started on any of that detail around that. The one thing that looks very likely will be the respiratory pathway.
Yes.
And that is very new. It's going to be a challenge for some, but it's a massive opportunity for us as a sector. And that then links into PQS. One of the elements in PQS is about training on respiratory. So crack on, do that training, get your PQS points while you can, because it will hold you in good stead for whatever comes out as the respiratory pathway for the extension. Even if you're not a prescriber, it is still worth doing so that you understand that pathway better.
Okay. And a question to Mike, if I can. You've brought us around to PQS, Nick. Is it worth going for PQS, Mike? And if so, why?
Yes, without a doubt, I think it's worth going for PQS. But there are, again, as Nick was talking about CPCF, some pitfalls. Why is it worth going for? Well, although it's a smaller PQS this particular year, there's less money in it, so there's £20 million has gone into it. There's fewer domains. There is a clinical audit to do, which is around pharmacy first. So actually, we've already done most of the work around that anyway, I would suggest.
Yes.
But I think and just going back to a point that Nick just made, PQS has always been there for a reason. It's always been about training today, ready for tomorrow. And that's exactly what Nick's just referred to with the asthma domain, for example. And then when you look at the gateway criteria, the palliative and end-of-life care, that's there to support the frailty agenda, the governmental and ICB agenda for frailty, but particularly the end-of-life agenda. And I personally, I think it's, having lost my father recently, I think it's a great addition. You don't have to hold all of the medications, the end-of-life medications. That's not the point, but you must know where the pharmacies are that do and are able to signpost patients, so that patients at the end of the life die with dignity. So I think I think for me, it's a bigger thing. It is absolutely worth going for, and why wouldn't you try to go for it? Because it is straightforward, and the aspirational payment does need to be, if you are going to go for the aspirational payment, and I strongly would suggest you do, because it helps very much with cash flow. Then there is a window of that, and that's coming up pretty soon, actually. So the aspirational payment window opens on the 13th of July, and it closes at midnight on the 28th of July. So yes, so that's important. I think the second thing I would say is, again, there's a lot of words which need to be understood, and there's a timeline that needs to be clear. Some top tips. Really, it's diarising the dates.
Yes. Yep.
We know already that some contractors did some work, did the PQS last year, left it too late to claim or missed the window. They've done all that work and got no remuneration because they missed the deadline.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen again, Mike, do we?
Not at all. And it makes no sense. I mean, where else, what other business would you do work for free?
None.
No, exactly. And the sector isn't in a position where we can do work for free any longer.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I think the second thing is look for opportunities to utilise your team assets.
Yes.
So let the pharmacist do what the pharmacist needs to do. Is there any other colleague in your pharmacy that can actually do some work for you around PQS? And certainly do the training, and therefore you're freeing yourself up for the things that only pharmacists can do, because it doesn't need to be onerous.
Yes.
And the last thing I would say is about change of ownership. I mentioned it earlier. If you have taken over a new pharmacy this year, or you've had an amalgamation of a pharmacy, I would turn to the back of the drug tariff, the NHS drug tariff printout, the details, and start there, because there are some dates in there you just need to be aware of, what you can claim for and what you can't claim for. Because if you start there, then you're clear on what else now do I need to do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, sort of working backwards. Yeah, brilliant. That's great, Mike. Thank you. And I think the other thing that I have on my list to talk to you both about today is the opportunities around vaccinations that are coming up. Obviously, we've got the Men B. Oh, hang on, Nick's got his hand up, everybody. I've missed it because my screen was blocking him. Sorry, Nick.
It's just really to come in on that last point that Mike made about making sure you claim. There is a page on CPE website that lists all of the key dates.
Brilliant.
So if you've not looked that out before, we'll reference the actual link. But that takes you through month by month all the key dates. So you can put those dates in your calendar accordingly, or what works for you. But it runs a 12-month period on a rolling cycle. That does. So you can start to, if you're going to be on holiday in January 2027, for instance, what's happening in January 27 that you can't miss? The critical dates that they're going to be while you're away, that you can then plan how that's going to be dealt with. Can you do it beforehand, or can you get a member of your team to do it for you?
To do that for you, yeah, that's brilliant, Mike. Nick, rather, we will. I'll find that. We'll get that link. I'll pop that on for everybody, and we'll do a few posts around that. I'm sorry, I didn't see your virtual hand. My screen was covering it. So I'm going to go back to vaccination opportunities then, please. If you could, I think this is a question for both of you, really. What are we wanting to say here? Obviously, we've got MB vaccine starting, I believe, it's available on the 20th of July for students. And then obviously later in the year, we've got flu and COVID. And some, great opportunities here. So from a patient and a commercial perspective, I imagine, for contractors.
I think, sorry, jumping in there, sorry. I think this is the MEM-B opportunity is a massive opportunity.
Yes.
We were given an opportunity in COVID, and we rose to the challenge, and we delivered. And aside from the commercial benefit aspect of it, it's our contribution to the health of the nation.
Yes.
And prevention agenda, and it builds relationship and trust with community pharmacy as a sector that, from a commissioner perspective, they can rely on us to deliver, give us a challenge, give us a fair return, and we will deliver. And we've proven it in the past, and we will do it again for MB, but also for our public. Come to community pharmacy. We are their healthcare professional on the high street, here, ready and waiting to support you in future, and use those points of contact to build a relationship with that cohort of people coming into your pharmacy that may not be currently regular users. Don't let any one of those
patient for life coming up.
Yeah. Don't let any one of those MEM-B vaccine people go out, understanding that you can provide pharmacy first.
Yes.
You can provide contraception service.
Yes.
You can provide them with flu vaccination later in the year. Whatever it is, whatever's appropriate to that person. When you're sitting there doing the jab, just a quick 30-second chat. It's make every contact count.
Yeah, we've talked about this so many times, Nick, haven't we? You've got that person there, have a chat to them, let them know. We don't just do dispensing. These are all the other things we do. Fantastic opportunity. Brilliant. Yeah. Mike's not got any virtual hands up or real hands up, but I think he might want to say something.
Yeah, well, I think I agree absolutely with everything Nick has said. This is a fantastic opportunity to be part of a much bigger agenda. And I think it's amazing that, brilliant actually, because of what community pharmacy has done, certainly through the last year, we proved, for example, that we could do childhood immunisation, flu immunisation.
Yes.
So therefore, the government have come to community pharmacy straight away. They haven't mucked about and gone, who else is there? It's, we'll go to community pharmacy. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud of the way that the view of community pharmacy is changing. So I think that's important for our general confidence, I think. I would say that certainly for meningitis, just a couple of things. There is one date looming. Kirsten, you're absolutely right. The meningitis season, if you like, starts on the 20th of July. But the 6th of July is also a really important date. You have to have signed up for the service by at the end of this week, actually, isn't it? I think, or certainly the beginning of next week. By the 6th of July, to make sure that you get the right vaccinations for the 20th.
Yes.
If you haven't done that, you've still got until the 20th, but that's where you then start
You're
from.
going to end up being a few weeks behind. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, which is a real shame, given the size of the opportunity that Nick's just talked about.
Absolutely.
So I think that's worth bearing in mind. And I think the other thing with meningitis goes back to what I said at the start. Read the PGD and the specifications, because there are age groups in there for the young people actually qualify for this.
Yes.
So making sure we're not vaccinating people that don't qualify for it is crucial. Otherwise, there won't be any payment. So read the documentation. It is new, and you can use other team members as well, as long as they're vaccinated, trained. So I like Nick, really big opportunity. I think flu again this year will be another big opportunity. One thing I would say, when I've read the specifications actually mentions that there's a GP specification in with the pharmacy specification. Make sure you're looking at the right part.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Because actually, the GP surgeries can actually vaccinate different cohorts of people. And we don't want to be in this situation where we start vaccinating them accidentally, because you won't get paid for that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I've picked up. And the other thing again this year, there may be opportunities to do off-site vaccinations, and if there is a set process to deal with that. We'll have to apply to the commissioner to allow that to happen. So if you are considering that, make sure that that's diarised, when to apply for the commissioner, for what you're going to do, where you're going to do it, etc. So again, trying to think ahead is really important.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because you might think that flu is flu, which it is, but actually that there could be things we could do better than last year. And I guess linked to that finally is COVID. So the spring COVID vaccinations finished yesterday. And we're now in the process of waiting to know how that's going to work for the winter scheme. Just look out for those details, because you can, like last year, do the flu vaccinations, supply the flu vaccinations at the same time as COVID. And again, primarily, I think it is community pharmacy that's doing that now.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, Nick.
As we've said, there's a lot going on. There's going to be a lot more going on. And perhaps in the past, contractors were able to keep a lot of this in their heads. But I think they're going to be busier and busier as clinicians, more in depth, clinically involved, as services become more and more involved and more extensive. So they need to think, if they don't already use some sort of planning tool in terms of, as an LPC, we've got flip charts stuck on the wall in the office with the key dates across the months. So whatever tool it is, whether it's a digital tool, whether it's a wall planner or a calendar or whatever it is, but you need to think about that. And it may be something as new contractors as well might need to think about and look at what resources, tools might exist to help them with that planning. But absolutely, you need some form of annual planner, rolling annual planner, 12-month planner, to make sure you don't miss key dates now. Crucial for your business from a personal business perspective, but also from your community pharmacy contractual framework, your CPCF, US. All of these deadlines need to go in there, and some people will use digital, and they'll set digital reminders and that sort of thing. Some people prefer paper, but whatever, use something, because you will so easily miss key dates if you don't have some form of reminder, because you've got too much going on, and you're going to be, as pharmacists, you will be very involved in the clinical aspects of service delivery going forward. And it may be actually, you know what, if you use one of your trusted members of staff to support team to monitor these key dates.
Yes.
For us as an LPC, Alison as our office manager keeps us all on track with those dates and key points and making sure that we don't miss those sorts of things. She keeps the tracker. She records everything that comes in and then ticks it off as it goes out.
Yes. Yeah. 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 It gives somebody that responsibility, Nick. It's a really good idea. Yeah. And I think there's one top tip, isn't it, that we were talking about really before we started the recording, and that is really just simply to take some time out to understand these changes and make a plan, however complex or simple you want that plan to be, as to what you want to deliver, and involve your team as well. I think that's key in that thinking, but taking that time out to think it is imperative. And I know
I think having some sort of wall planner is a way that the team can see it as well.
Absolutely, everyone can see it, Nick.
If you're digital and make it accessible, you know, digital calendar that's accessible to people.
Put some alerts on there a week in advance, or excellent. Great. Well, I think we could talk for probably about another 4 hours, the three of us. So I think we're going to end it there, and we'll put all the various links and things. And I think, let's find those key dates that Nick talked about, and we'll share that document or that link. And we'll be back. I think it's important to say we'll be back when we know more, and there are things. Do you want to say something, Mike?
Yes, it's something that I'm so sorry it came out.
That's all right.
Follows on from what Nick said. Use the assets. Please use the assets that are out there and available. Yes. You don't have to start from scratch, because PQS has been going for a long time. And the other thing with those assets, this year there will be a lot of marketing assets around the meningitis vaccination program. So utilizing those free assets. I won't go into all the detail now, but actually involving your team in making sure that people that come into the pharmacy are aware of the meningitis vaccination program. Because we can set ourselves up brilliant. We prove that. What we're not particularly good at is marketing what we do.
Yes.
And so hopefully there'll be a national campaign. We don't know that, but actually
there are usually some brilliant assets, Mike. You're right, that even CPE. Just a simple graphic, that if the pharmacy has social media pages such as Facebook, just download the asset and just put it straight on your Facebook page, and you don't need to do any more. Oh, hang on. Sorry,
I think those assets are all.
2 seconds. Keep talking, Nick. Keep talking.
I think those assets are already out there and findable. And I think what I'd say is, if you struggle to find anything, your first port of call is the CPE website, and look on the specific service that you are interested in or working on at that point in time. It's quite well laid out with the headings there. Goes through all of the service spec, key points to note. If you can't find an asset on there, try your trade body, MPA, Newmark, etc., because they're producing a lot of support materials. If you're still struggling, drop us on, and we can signpost you. And if there isn't one that exists, we can work with either trade bodies or CPE to provide it and get that sorted. But I think just about everything that you could possibly think of is out there, provided by one organisation or another one already.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of information. We started out by saying that, didn't we? Absolutely. And we will try and pull out those.
Come back to us.
Absolutely.
We'll signpost you to it. Best bet is drop us a message at the LPC info email address, really, because that's monitored constantly by Alison, but we all have access to that, so we can pick it up as quickly as possible. And get the response too.
Back. Fantastic. Well, thank you both very much. And as I said a few minutes ago, we'll be back when we have more details about various things. Yeah, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Mike, for your time. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And we'll be back soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.